What does the story of Ruth tell us about God providing for a faithful widow? How does it relate to Christ redeeming all nations? Let's begin in Ruth 1. Did an Israelite family move temporarily to Moab due to a drought? Now it came to pass in the days when the judges ruled that there was a famine in the land, and a certain man of Bethlehem, Judah, went to sojourn in the country of Moab, he and his wife and his 2 sons. And the name of the man was Elimelech, and the name of his wife Naomi, and the name of his 2 sons Mahlon and Chilion, Ephrathites of Bethlehem, Judah. And they came into the country of Moab, and continued there. And Elimelech, Naomi's husband, died, and she was left, and her 2 sons. And they took them wives of the women of Moab. The name of the one was Orpah, and the name of the other Ruth. And they dwelled there about 10 years. Did all 3 women lose their husbands, and begin a return to Israel? Then both Mahlon and Chilion also died, and the woman was left without her 2 children and her husband. Then she arose with her daughters-in-law, and returned from the fields of Moab. For she'd heard in the fields of Moab that Yahweh had visited his people to give them food. So she went forth from the place where she was, and her 2 daughters-in-law with her, and they went on the way to return to the land of Judah. What did Naomi say to her 2 daughters-in-law? But Naomi said to her 2 daughters-in-law, "Go, return each of you to your mother's house. May the Lord deal kindly with you, as you've dealt with the dead and with me. May the Lord grant that you may find a place of rest, each one in the house of her husband." Then she kissed them, and they raised their voices and wept. However, they said to her, "No, but we will return with you to your people." But Naomi said, "Return, my daughters. Why should you go with me? Do I still have sons in my womb, that they may be your husbands? Return, my daughters. Go, for I'm too old to have a husband. If I said I have hope, if I were even to have a husband tonight, and also give birth to sons, would you therefore wait until they were grown? Would you therefore refrain from marrying? No, my daughters, for it's much more bitter for me than for you, because the hand of the Lord has come out against me." What was Ruth's decision? Though ethnically a Moabite, who did she choose as her God? At this they wept aloud again. Then Orpah kissed her mother-in-law goodbye, but Ruth clung to her. "Look," said Naomi, "your sister-in-law is going back to her people and her gods. Go back with her." But Ruth replied, "Don't urge me to leave you or to turn back from you. Where you go, I'll go, and where you stay, I'll stay. Your people will be my people, and your God my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I'll be buried. May the Lord deal with me, be it ever so severely, if even death separates you and me." When Naomi realized that Ruth was determined to go with her, she stopped urging her. Where did the 2 women go? What harvest was occurring as they returned? Now the 2 of them went until they came to Bethlehem. And it happened, when they'd come to Bethlehem, that all the city was excited because of them. And the women said, "Is this Naomi?" But she said to them, "Don't call me Naomi, call me Mara, for the Almighty has dealt very bitterly with me. I went out full, and the Lord has brought me home again empty. Why do you call me Naomi, since the Lord has testified against me, and the Almighty has afflicted me?" So Naomi returned, and Ruth the Moabitess, her daughter-in-law, with her, who returned from the country of Moab. Now they came to Bethlehem at the beginning of barley harvest. Were they disobedient to an ancient command against Moab? No Ammonite or Moabite or any of their descendants for 10 generations may be admitted to the assembly of the Lord. These nations didn't welcome you with food and water when you came out of Egypt. Instead, they hired Balaam, son of Beor, from Pethor, in distant Aram Naharaim, to curse you. Did this command only apply to men? Or did Ruth's faith in God make her an exception? Was such a prohibition even then only to pagan culture, not ethnicity? Peter opened his mouth and said, "Truly I perceive that God doesn't show favoritism, but in every nation he who fears him and works righteousness is acceptable to him." What does the story of Ruth tell us about God providing for a faithful widow? How does it relate to Christ redeeming all nations? You decide.